All right, welcome to Stocks and Squats. My name is L. Jermaine Russell. It is November 8th, 2020, at 12:38 p.m. And I was asked a question recently on how do I research a company, right? And right now we see that I have ALT up on my chart. So this is the stock price chart and this is the options chart. And essentially here, as you can tell, I've already traded this already, right? I've traded this before. But I already have a little bit of knowledge or understanding background that what this company can do. But let's say that you were on a platform where other traders were talking about a stock that you like ALT and you had no idea what to do as far as to get information about the stock, right? So first and foremost, what you want to do is look at what the stock is doing on the actual like year chart. Like look at its history. What did it do? How did it move? We see that it spiked before. It's a recent spiker. It spiked back here in the past, but it also was a reverse split, right? It did a reverse split. It was a 1 to 30 split, so every one share got split into 30. So, you know, which is fine. You get those reverse splits, and it just opens up more shares for the stock to be sold at a higher price, right? But essentially, but when you have more shares available, that gives an opportunity for more buyers or market participants, I should say, not even just buyers particularly, but market participants, buyers and sellers, to come in and make their way into the direction that they believe that the stock will go. On the right side, I have my options chart. I had this is a option. This is a potential options play, but I will walk you through the steps on what will kind of discern one company from another company as far as you wanting to trade it on that day. Okay. So, um, before I get started, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. This will just help, just of course, subscribers. But I like really trying to get as much of this message out on how that you can trade, how you can make the market work for you. Right? There is a plethora of ways that you can really increase your financial income, and the stock market has been known to be for 98% of multimillionaires and billionaires. The stock market has been the foundation of their wealth, right? And real estate, but it started with the stock market. But so, with that being said, I'm at ALT, and I said, okay, why are all these people looking at ALT? Let me go to finviz.com. Finviz.com is a website that gives you not just news, most recent news about the stock itself, but as you can tell, it shows you a heat map at the very first beginning of the page, and then it shows you, the highest movers of the day. So, it already has its generated percentage gainers and losers that are built in on this website. So, and you can have a membership and stuff like that with it, but it's a free, available website that you can use to really educate yourself on the company that you want to know about. So, like I said, we're on Alt Immune, right? We know this now that it's in the healthcare sector, and the industry is a biotech, and we see what company or what country it is from. So even with this, we already all right. We're on to a great start. We already know what sector. We already know what industry it's in. So what else do we need to know? We should know that what how has it performed recently, right? So this is something that I tend to look at. Like how has it been performing in the past week? Well, 8%. The past month it was down 6%. You know, for the quarter down 52%, but the half it's been up 295%, right? Half the year, and then for the whole year 570%. So it's actually like a high percentage gainer over the year, right? Even though this past week it went up, something is going on in there and we're trying to figure out what's going on. We see that there's insider transactions in the past 6 months, right, of 120%. We'll get to that. But what's the most important part in realizing if a stock can really make a move is knowing its share float. Its share float of 22 million. It has a share float of 22 million, and then a short float of 10%. That means 10% of this float, the shares float is the the amountable the number of shares available for that company to publicly trade. 10% of that is used to bet against the company, right? And that could be for other reasons, for hedge funds to collect money when they think this stock has gone too high, or even insiders when build money or capital income for some type of drug in their pipeline, right? So there's a multitude of reasons why short sellers would even come in and play and bet against the market. But just know that there are other forces that are out there that are wanting you to lose. It's not just these short sellers, it's also the overall market, right? The Dow, the NASDAQ, S&P, the news in the general public, like coronavirus is a big thing right now. So, hey, is this company even related to coronavirus? Maybe we should go check out some stuff, right? So we have some things kind of like planning in our head, like thinking of what healthcare really is in the biotech space. Then we start thinking of what the average volume is, which is 1.5, and then what the volume was on the last trading day, which was less than the average. It was actually, almost half of the average. You know, wow, which is pretty crazy in itself, right? For it to be up 8% on the week, that's the only reason why I say it's pretty crazy. I thought it would continue going, but or continue to have more volume. But besides that, then you get some of these analyst analyst gradings. These professional analysts, they grade the stock, and you see that this year there have been buy and outperform ratings, and some of it was saying that the stock will go to $31, $80, stuff of that nature. Some people say it would stay at six, right? So some people don't believe too heavily on the company, right? Um, so when you go to the news, or when you continue scrolling down, I should say, you see the news, and you see the news, and you're just like, wow, okay, there's a lot of news. Like what? Like how do I even start? Sometimes I will start at the very beginning, where this is the very first thing that says, hey, November 10th, that they're having that their financial results will be released, right? So the 10th is Tuesday, right? So now it's piquing my curiosity on, okay, well, what time of day will this be even released? Because when you're in earnings season, um, stocks can really move. And being that this is a low float stock in the 20 millions and it has a float of 10%, there's nothing that can't say that short sellers won't get squeezed out during the announcement because of whatever possible great news that this stock might have. I'm not projecting what news this stock might have. I don't want to project and think I will make some grandiose announcement that, hey, this stock is going to go to $80, because I know that's just not how the market will like interpret most of the financial data on pretty speculative stocks. However, when you have an opportunity to cash in on some funds, you say, okay, well, they said that they're going to release their results at 8:30, another conference. So we know that the market opens up at 9:30, right? So at 8:30, let's say that you wanted to trade this based on whatever news that this biopharmaceutical company is about to release. right? I don't know what's up with this advertisement, but to kind of give you a background on this, we'll get to that in a little bit. But they give you a little background on the company, saying that it's focused on intranasal vaccines, immune modulating therapies, and treatments for liver disease. Our diverse pipeline includes proprietary intranasal vaccines for COVID-19, anthrax, and influenza. Right, and these are the pharmaceutical trademark names, right, for them, like Nasovax and Nasal Shield. Yes, I remember them having a NASH before for their chronic, hepatitis B treatment. So, that is one that I particularly remember from this company. But I also do remember them trying to get really into the pipeline of doing something for COVID. Um, So, so that's it on this news. Like there's not much that was actually published, from. So it just gave you an idea of like, oh, okay, they're going to release their financial news at 8:30. So if I was, wanting to trade the stock on why are you not loading? Okay. Oh, if I wanted to trade the stock on Tuesday, I would particularly have to be ready before 8:30. Mentally awake, mentally ready, and prepared to see if I wanted to trade this stock. Being that options do not trade in the pre-market time, I particularly would not buy an options contract until the market were open. That way, I've been able to determine what the price, the movement of the stock has been. I don't know what the movement of the stock has been. Um, you know, right now, obviously, because the market is not open, but that's just something just to take into account. So as you can tell, I was scrolling down, and when I scroll down, you get more information about the company, on a blurb at the bottom of the page, right? And it tells you that it's focusing on developing treatments for liver disease, immune modulating therapies, and vaccines. The company develops HERP T cell, an immunotherapy product candidate that has completed phase 1 clinical trials for patients chronically infected with the hepatitis B virus, right? So that is one. We talked about the anthrax one, and we also mentioned the COVID one, right? And that was mentioned in the actual, excuse me, that was mentioned in the actual press release. So these are little things that you'll get to know of when it deals with the background of the company. That they have a novel peptide based dual GLP-1 glucon, glucagon, sorry, receptor antagonist agonist for the treatment of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. If I remember correctly, I think this is like like the liver could not um, could not metabolize glucose for glycogen storage. If I remember correctly, I'm not. Actually, let me look because some of my terms and terminologies I don't remember them all, so I do need to make sure. Yes, a liver inflammation damage caused by the buildup of fat in the liver, right? So it's a buildup of fat because obviously there's no now glucose that is available or stored to be used, right? The medical condition. Let's Wikipedia is always good. Let's go here. See, sorry, these are the little detours I might take, as I, want to, remember certain biological terms that I am not 100% familiar with like I used to be. So I know it's an inflammation now of the liver. Um, the term steatosis, right? It's a retention of fat within the organ. That affects the liver, primary organ of lipid metabolism. It's lipid metabolism, right? Because that's where fats are stored. Now, fats aren't stored in the liver, but the accumulation of fat in the liver causes this disease. and then it can affect other organs. So you get this fatty liver that is because of alcoholics, you know, you know, things of that nature. So, um, and then you have one for non-alcoholics. So, and that's probably more of genetic diseases and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm getting two more into. I will look at that and edify myself a little bit later. But as you can see right here, you get a chance to look at their income statement, their balance sheet, and their cash flow. Um, yep. So you'll see, like you'll see their cash flow used by, well, their income statement. You'll see their cash flow. We'll look at their cash flow. We'll see what their what was it? Seeing we see their total cash and dividends. Non-cash items, cash from investing activities, negative 15. Um, cash for operating activities, right, negative 15. So, cash from financing activities, 54. So it's like, you know, they have some type of cash, but they're really like not, not as great in their cash flow as far as holding, cash. And then their total assets, you see that it's at 39. I wonder if this is in the millions. I can't. That part I haven't really figured out on here. Like if it's in the millions or in the thousands. Um, we see that their liabilities, 3.9. So that's total. Sorry, that's total assets. Total liabilities were. There we go. Yep. Yeah. Okay. It's there. 3.9. See, this is a little bit different than how Yahoo Finance used to be, because Yahoo Finance was a little bit more clear and distinct with it. But it's just that the lines are a little bit lighter, and but all the information is still the same. It's just about getting used to reading it. So their current liability is definitely lesser than their total assets. So that's always good. So their total equity is 45, which is great. I would imagine that this is in the millions. You know, no, I would imagine. Yeah, see, there it is. Value is in the millions. Um, and then when you continue to scroll down a little bit further, you start to see what the insiders are doing. You see that there were some buyers back in June and May. You see that there's some options exercises, uh, like just almost 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So, and this is from the director, and there was a couple of directors that were, exercising their options. So, let's see if there's any news about that back in September 24th. So, this is what I do, and I probably do it a lot faster. I'm just trying to explain each step. But this is what I do when I'm looking at a stock and seeing what is happening, right? And I see right here in September, you have that that there was an appointment of a chief medical officer. But also, the a couple weeks before that, you see that they were given 3.7 million in BARDA funding, right, for the nasal shield. So BARDA is an agency that helps with biomedical advanced research, right? So they tend to give out money. This is not the first time. Um, this is not the first time they've given out money. I think they gave out money to a school. I think it was like BCRA or no, that's BRCA. It was a school or some sort in New York that can't really hold its gains on the stock market. But they give out money to help companies essentially find this cure, because a lot of these companies just don't have the funds. If I could remember the name of that other company, that was operating out of a school, I know it wasn't John Jay. I know it wasn't Hunter College, but it was one of these schools, and I was just like, wow. It wasn't City College, and I was just like, wow, New York City is really on it, and I like that. It's just that on the stock market was holding its gains, but that's another story. Um, so we giving money before. Um, what else in their news that we can really hold on to other than their earnings? Other than their earnings. They said three biotechs back on October 30th. Said there's three biotechs in the hunt for COVID vaccine, and one analyst is calling them. So we can click on that and see what's that about. I also still want to see what else they had. Is like the street sees a 289% upside. This was October 13th. They had a virtual conference. Shares while price zoomed 494%. So these are articles that I would typically want to look at just to see what is being said. Because once you understand, like, hey, these are what analysts are saying, then it makes it a little bit like less stressful for yourself to um, to research the company and really try to figure out if this company is really a great company or not. You have people that will pass out news, right? And you will also have traders that will also tell you news. Like I'm considered a retail trader, right? Because you know some of my trades might be speculative, and most of them aren't. So when I do take on a trade like this, or like VFF, or what are some other ones that I did this past week? So I can't remember them all right now. But when I take on these stocks of like lesser name, it's not well known. It is like, oh, retail traders are bumping the stock up higher, and speculatively, right? So here, we see that this article that was written uh, goes on and talks about ALT right here. All right, and then it goes into its history. It talks about the actual drug itself. Said that it produces a single dose intranasal vaccine to protect against COVID 19. Points out all immune products stand out in regards to lung specific immunoglobulin A, CD8 plus T cells, and T cell responses. And further states that in our view, it blocks the virus at the source within the nose and respiratory tract. So, which is important for COVID, right? If you look at it on a bigger scheme, you want COVID to be stopped via the breath, right? You don't want those particles intertwining with the breath and then making themselves um, out into the atmosphere, right? So, it mentions some of its movements before, and then you'll have like an analyst rating of a four for buying or five or something like strong buy, and some target prices that some of the analysts are seeing, right? And it goes into other companies, ARCT. I was kind of looking at that before. Um, and Heat Biologics. Oh wow. Okay, I totally forgot about you. So see, even that you get a chance to, you will see an article that you're researching, but you also might see within that article talk about another company that you might have seen, months before or even years before, right? So you're like, oh yeah, or you've heard another trader talk about this months before, and you were in a conversation with it. So these are little small things that you know that goes in your favor. So I want to really now go into the actual chart, right? Because we went through some of the background. I showed you where you can get the news from. Really going through here and seeing what news you can pick out of there, and also around here you'll see what some of the individual traders are saying about or related to ALT. So sometimes I don't feel that you will get a lot of like BS that's being said over here on there, but you don't hold their opinions to a high standard. All right, you really hold on to your rules that you've created for yourself as a trader, and having rules are important. So, like I said, with these rules, once you realize that you've done your research, you know what the float size is, you know what the market is. Like the market is green today, or it's, not, it's red today, so you're just kind of leaving it alone. Or now you see that, hey, this stock has that news that's causing the price to move up higher. Right? So what would be a good price to get in at? So this is where you start zooming in on the prices, or you start zooming in on your chart. And when you zoom in on your chart, you start to look for support and resistance lines. So what are support and resistance lines? Support and resistance is where you will have the demand, right? The demand is holding a supportive price for this stock, right? And as the supportive price is being upheld, there's a lot of supply that's above, right? Um, and whatever that supply is, that is saying that, hey, this stock has a huge supply here, and the demand will have to overwhelm the supply for the price to go up higher.